Hi everyone and welcome back to Amplify. In today's episode, we're gonna talk to incredible, world-changing entrepreneurs who are creating vegan food. Now, by vegan food, I don't mean a falafel or tofu steak. Seriously, their recipes are crazy. But before going to the episode, let's have a look at previously on Amplify.
Who do you want to amplify?
I already talked about Federica from Vegan Butcher. I think she's an amazing, inspiring woman. I think she's got a lot of plans for 2021, so I think it could be really nice if you have a talk with her. Yeah.
Are you vegan yet? If no, stay with us. There is a huge chance you're going to become one. But before starting off the episode, I just wanted to add that as of now on, at the end of every single episode, I'm going to include a song of independent musician because I think independent musicians need more exposure. So stay till the end. And now, without further ado, the Vegan Butcher.
Listening to the show or watching the show because I found the concept very interesting. So first of all, my name is Eric, and I have my project which I started in 2021, which is called Amplify. And this way, I kind of try to give more exposure to creative people, to talented people, to somebody who does some innovative things. And I had on the interview Leonore from Vegan Brussels, and so at the end of the show, I always ask, who do you want to amplify? It means that the person has to nominate someone to be featured, and she nominated you guys. So I'm very excited to have this interview with you. It's going to be a spoiler alert, but I already tried your products. They are very good. So let's start with what is your relationship with Leonore? How do you know each other?
Yes, so I met Leonore in April 2019. We had just started the Vegan Butcher. It was literally 2 weeks after the beginning. I think I even remember the date, like the 19th of April or something. And I know it because it was our first time that we had presented our products to the public since she organized the Vegan Festival in Antwerp. As you know, she always does it in Brussels. I mean, for now 3 years, and is a big success. And that specific year, she wanted to do something like on the same line in Antwerp. And yeah, we thought with Benoit that's a good occasion to really have a first dialogue with people and see what they think about the products. I remember when we arrived, I was so nervous. I mean, it was just a small festival, but I mean, it's very exciting, when the first time that you put your products out there and your face, so you really see people's reactions. And then I met her. Benoit already knew her because, as you maybe know, he was working before for an animal rights organizations in Belgium. Yeah, he basically helped developing animal rights in Belgium. Like Animal Rights is an organization from the Netherlands, and initially they didn't have any office in Belgium, and he just started as a volunteer many years ago, and then he became like a campaign manager, and so he already had the chance to work with Leonore because those kind of organizations, they also often have a stand on those festivals.
Yeah.
So I remember the first time I met her there, and but we got closer just much later. I would say by the end of last year and also this year in January, because we felt like now that our company is almost 2 years old, we realized that our approach to business, and to vegan business is very similar. I realized now after 2 years in the industry that a lot of people, they still have a bit the stigma that if you run an ethical business, something that is related, that has an ethical purpose, you can't really consider it like a business. So you can't also want to make profit out of it. It's a very sensitive topic. It's crazy, but so many people, they really don't see the two things going together. And Leonore, she's completely on the other side, going for it. She sees that to make veganism more mainstream, you actually need companies that aim big. And I don't know, I think she saw some potential in us, and so we really like get to know each other on that level too.
But that's awesome. You're tuned in from Antwerp?
No, well, me personally, I'm Italian.
Okay.
Yes, and we live in Brussels. Benoit is from Bruges.
From Bruges, okay. And you
Yes.
both live in Brussels right now.
Yes,
And
yes.
where are you from, Italy?
Genova. I don't know if you know. It's like a big city on the coast, close to France. So it's the first region close to France.
And how did it start for you? How did you move to Belgium?
Yeah, well, I studied economics, and after my bachelor's degree, I had already enrolled for my master, always there. And like the university had several professors that have like contacts around Europe, but I didn't know, like I wasn't even thinking of moving at the time. And they said that this office in Brussels, which was at the time, I don't know if you know, but regions in Italy, they have offices that represent their interests in front of the European institutions. So my region had this office, and they were looking for like some like very like promising student, let's say, and they felt I was the good one to propose. So at the time, I went with the flow. I was like, okay, I mean, let's try. But to tell you my knowledge of Belgium, like I'm ashamed to say, I was also 21, but I type on the internet, what language do they speak in Belgium? Like that was literally what I know. I think I even typed like what currency they have. I mean, no, I was really like from one day to the other. It was August when they told me, and then I came in October 2014. I kept studying though, like I had, as I said, I was already enrolled to the master and I just wanted to have it. So I basically was working full time here, and then I was taking some days to go back and just pass my exams. And then after like it was a 6 months stage, and then after those 6 months I realized I really liked like the city and the atmosphere because of so many reasons. But well, for sure, coming from Italy and from a city which is not like Rome or Milan, you know, the atmosphere is so much more international. And also I'm a big like art fanatics, and I really find that the architecture is so diverse, and you walk in a street with a style and then you turn the corner and it's a completely different thing.
Let's go to your, how did you meet up with Benoit?
So actually I met him during one of those vegan festivals. I was, because I turned vegan when I moved to Brussels. So it was a decision, something that I had in my mind already for a few months. But at the time in Italy, so 2014, I didn't know not even one vegetarian, just to tell you like how different, because now I go back and there are so many products, you know, but at the time it was absolutely unknown. And I had the idea because I kind of started following some people on YouTube, you know, it was really almost those teenager ideas. And then I moved to Brussels and I found out, oh, there are vegan festivals. And yeah, I went, and he was working for, at the time, animal rights. And after that, we kind of kept in touch. I mean, it was really like just a purely professional kind of relation. Like I think he wanted to have many contacts, of course, for his job, and I was following the page. And then at a certain moment, like years later, this was 2015, and by the end of 2017, I started putting a bit in questions everything I was doing from my career perspective, let's say. And I felt like, yeah, maybe the lobbying work wasn't really what I wanted to do in life, which was a bit crazy because after almost 4 years at the time of working, I felt that, yeah, I wanted to have like a bigger purpose. And so at the time I got in touch with him and I said, oh, like, do you know if there are any openings or something in the animal rights field? yeah, and then from there we kind of start talking more frequently, and then a year later we had the idea of the vegan butcher.
Okay, now we go to the vegan butcher.
Yes.
Okay, so how was the idea born?
So yeah, it was really like, I think, the right circumstances and the right moment, and then a mix of ideas from Benoit and I, because when we, as I said, we started talking more frequently in 2017, but he was very satisfied with his job, and his job was really aligned with his values. I was the one that was already questioning, and I already knew I wanted to do something to create some kind of company, but I didn't know, like, I wanted to do something related to veganism. And then I remember at the time I was telling him, like, yeah, maybe we could start something like what you are doing, at animal rights, but on ourselves. But then a few months later, he started feeling that his job was too, like, he still believed in, of course, in what he was doing, but he kind of felt that that approach wasn't the only one to be an activist in the vegan world. So we both read a lot, and at the time I remember he was reading this book where they were basically saying that people, before changing their beliefs, they tend to change behaviors, and then after a certain time that they repeat certain behaviors, they change beliefs as a consequence. So it's a bit the opposite of what sometimes we think. Like, there are really few people that they wake up one day, they look at a video of animal cruelty, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna go vegan because this is horrible. And then they're gonna start buying vegan burgers. Like, often people, they don't want to see that kind of stuff, and they just want to keep doing what they do. And then, like, the idea I had was, if we could convince people to start eating certain products, so we don't talk about the animal cruelty and all this stuff, and then we make them curious and they try and they like it, and slowly they start eating those kind of products more often. One day they're also gonna start maybe questioning, like, oh, but maybe this has also positive impacts on the environment, on the animals. And so yeah, he always talk about it in very enthusiastic terms, like, I want to be an activist from a more positive point of view. Like, I think all those also videos and investigations, they were starting to weigh a lot on him, like, mentally, because if you love animals, it's really hard to film those stuff. And then, of course, I also put my input. I always loved, like, cooking and developing, like, recipes and products. Although I must say I didn't have at the time much experience with making, like, vegan meats. Like, I remember in August 2018, we were saying, yeah, it could be like a small shop selling crepe with some vegan meats. And anyway, of course, there were all the phases of the idea development. And then by the end of the year, he actually, well, the working relationship with animal rights ended for him. And I was still working at my company, but I felt like, okay, now if we want to really do this, we have to, like, take the leap of faith and really commit to that, and just stop with your regular job, although it pays you a salary. And yeah, there is that moment that, in my opinion, you can't do both.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Let's talk about the recipes, because you guys are doing some very interesting things. They are very tasty, but is it difficult to do? Like, for instance, the vegan sausage, is it difficult to do?
Yeah, well, of course, there are different types of products. Some are, let's say, faster than others. But it took us quite some time to develop, like, the products as you know them now. And I'm sure in 2 years they're gonna be even better. That's the ultimate goal, I think, of each company, is never to think, like, being satisfied with what you do, but never thinking that's the end result. I think you can always improve it. But yeah, at the beginning it took us a lot of time. When we started, we had 6 products in total.
Oh, tell me about those 6. Just very
Yes,
curious.
gosh, like sometimes it's a bit embarrassing. But I have a quote that it hangs on the door of our bathroom, which says, if you're not embarrassed by the first version of your products, you have launched too late. And it's so true, you know. Like I think it means, okay, it doesn't mean that you have to come up with any kind of crap you have in mind, but I think if you wait really that the thing is so perfect, you're never gonna do it, and somebody else is coming and is gonna do it faster. So at the beginning we had like those chicken bites, so they were like tiny pieces of like kind of a seitan based on chickpeas, yeah, which we still have, but we have quite improved the recipe a lot. Another mistake we did at the beginning was that we were selling the meat really plain and natural. And we quickly realized that people, often they like when the product has already some kind of dressing or marinade to it. It was really happening so much that they were tasting something at the festival where we cook it with oil and spices. Then they were buying it at home, and then they were saying, oh, but it was much tastier at the festival. And then I was asking, but how did you do it? And they were just putting it in a pan like this. So all things you learn. We had the vegan steak, which we still have, but again, much different and improved. And then we had the blue cheese that we have, and that is actually the same, because it's a product that we took a lot of time to develop but of course we have a much better understanding of it now.
I'm very, very curious. What is blue cheese made of?
So it's based on cashew nuts. It's like organic cashew nuts, which by the way, we source from a specific supplier that has the certification of like fair working conditions, because most probably you know, but often is a bit it's a bit critical to shop cashew nuts because they are picked and you have to open them one by hand, and they contain a kind of acid substance that can really burn like the fingers of those
And the eyes.
yes. So it's really important to monitor and to pay more, because they cost double the price of the normal ones you find on the market, but it's still very important. Although I must say we are happy with having the blue cheese. Is really a bit of a niche product, but we don't produce big quantities at all, and we do not intend to scale it up for this reason too.
Mhm.
Like we find that there is not really a future where all vegan cheeses are gonna be cashew-based cheeses. I personally think, and Benoit too, that the future of vegan cheeses, like good vegan cheeses, not the heavily industrial one, is gonna be more based on soy milk, you know, and other kind of techniques. So is that. And then the mold, so the blue flavor is really mold that is developed by bacteria. They are called like Penicillium roqueforti. So it's the same bacteria that you have on the regular blue cheese, just those cultures, they are grown on plant-based sources, which I don't want to say something wrong, but I think they are like mushrooms or something like that in case of vegan cultures. There is just one supplier that has them in Europe. It's called Cashew Bird, and they really make all this culture for blue cheese, camembert, and other sort of cheeses or yogurt.
That's interesting to talk about cheese, because we often think that the cheese industry is maybe not that cruel than the meat industry. But then when I spoke to Leonore, she said at the end of the day, they're going to take the baby from the cow.
Yes.
And this is already cruelty. And so that's something that could be eye-opening for our viewers and listeners, because we, as I said, we often think that cheese doesn't really play a huge role there because we are not killing the animal, but then we are playing with the feelings of the animal.
Yeah, first of all, is even this to put into discussion if we are not killing the animals, because the average life of a cow that is used for milk is much shorter, and we can say the same for chickens that are used to lay eggs, in the sense that it is absolutely unnatural for an animal to produce that amount of milk or that amount of eggs. Like there are videos you can find everywhere. If you have a strong stomach, those cows, they are often artificially inseminated. So there are literally people that with a huge glove put their hands inside the cow to inseminate her so that she's pregnant and she produces the milk. But that milk that she produces, she's producing it not because she wants to give milk to us, it's because she has a pregnancy and she's gonna feed the baby with it. And often after, of course, sometimes those veals, they're gonna be used as well for milk. Sometimes they go to the slaughterhouse for meat, but sometimes they're just killed and they die like that. It's really horrible. I mean, it's really abuse. Like you could almost say, maybe it's a strong word, but it's almost sexual abuse, because like you are literally forcing something that should be natural between, you know, animals, but we interfere with that natural process, which has very severe impact on the cow, because as I said, it's not normal to produce that amount of milk. So they're often very weak. They're often very skinny, those cows. They have infections because, yeah, they take the milk all day. And so it's actually as cruel. Benoit always told me that that they say that milk is like the liquid meat in that sense, you know?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow, that's a very nice quote. I'm gonna put it somewhere.
Yeah, yes. And not to mention that it's really like I always say, because sometimes people then they ask me those questions to challenge me, like, but what if you would have your own cow and you just take a tiny bit of the milk? Yeah, okay, let's say you could do it and maybe, but it's also such an unnatural food for humans. And on this, all doctors I've met, absolutely non-vegan, they agree on it, that milk, like animal milk, is made for the animal. You know, it contains hormones to grow a baby cow, not a baby human or an adult human, even worse. So I don't see why people should want to drink such a thing.
I was wondering, what are your recommendations for someone who would like to switch from dairy to non-dairy?
Mm-hmm.
How can we be that strong to really go for that vegan cheese? I mean, probably when you taste it, when you like some old, how you call it, Vieux Bruges, the old Bruges
Yes.
cheese, we really like the taste, or a Parmesan.
Mhm.
How can we go and switch for vegan?
Yeah, I think there are three main factors that you have always to keep in mind in general when you eat a vegan food, you know, is like you shouldn't really look for exactly the same thing. I mean, I think if you start already with the idea like I want to find exactly this same flavor, you are putting some obstacles along your way, you know. And indeed, what I really like of a lot of people, that our clients that aren't vegan and they try our food, is that they say, oh, I want to eat something different. I'm curious to try something different. And of course, it's nice if you can give them a name so that they know what the thing is kind of like vegan steak, vegan chicken. But we also make it very clear it's not going to taste exactly the same. And I think the same thing goes with cheeses. But the second thing I think is also important to know, like cheese shouldn't be like a staple in a diet. You know what I mean? Like we should, like I think people, especially in Belgium and maybe in France even worse, they really eat a lot of cheese, but cheese in any case is not the healthiest food. Like it's just pure fat basically. It can be super pleasant and nice, but it shouldn't replace like a meal, you know. So because, and I say this because vegan cheeses, they are quite expensive, unfortunately, because they are made very artisanally with very expensive ingredients. So yeah, if somebody is used to eat 200 grams of cheese a day, it's gonna be very pricey to eat them as vegan cheeses, you know. So I think also that, and this is indeed something I hear from so many people that went vegan. They say, what I did with cheeses at the beginning, I just stopped buying it cold turkey. Like I really try to kind of detox from cheese because it's really a bit addictive actually. And then after I start purchasing every now and then, and this is actually also what we do, Benoit and I, like sometimes, you know, if we have friends over or we want to have a cheese and wine, we just buy a couple of good cheeses, but it's not like a staple that we have in our fridge. Yeah. And then I think last, if you really are a cheese connoisseur, you know, and you like those old age cheeses, do not buy those €3 industrial cheeses at supermarkets because they are fine. Like sometimes I buy them, you know, and they put it in a pizza and I'm okay with it. But you're gonna be disappointed if you're looking for the strong aged cheese. Then I think you much better save some more money and buy some. There are a lot of now artisanal producer of cheeses, even in Belgium. I mean, I can mention some, like in Ghent, there is Hommage. She makes multiple sort of camembert. They are really amazing. In Brussels, well, there is our blue cheese, but then there is another girl that Nutty Cheese. She does also camembert and also blue cheese. There are some producers in France, like Les Nouveaux Affineurs. They make a very stinky cheese. It's crazy. Like I had my parents over. They really love cheeses and they really love, you know, Italian aged cheeses like pecorino. And they said they're incredible. Like they really said it's vegan. So yeah, there is Gondino, is a kind of pecorino from Italy, which is based on chickpea flour and cashew nuts. And that is really popular in Italy. So I can tell you Italians are not easy to convince when it comes to their food. If Italians find that cheese resembles pecorino, it's because it does. So yeah, I think like you should have an open-minded and try to go for the good quality. And of course it's pricey, but then maybe not making cheese a staple of your diet.
I was wondering, how did you feel when you only launched the project of the vegan butcher? You went to different festivals, and then, as you say, that people tried it there. They said it was tasty, and then when they came home, they tried cooking it themselves. They said that it was maybe not the same thing. Was it kind of hurtful, or how did you, in general, manage to take the feedback and make something good out of it, because it often can be demotivating?
It's true. It's a very good question because it's actually something that I really had to learn along the way. I think it was very good for me to have Benoit as a partner, as a business partner, because he has a completely different personality from mine. So he is much more detached and he doesn't take things personally, and he really sees things as a way to improve. While on the other hand, I am very, like, because I care so much about it and I'm so passionate about it, there was a time that I almost identified myself with the company, you know. So every criticism that was moved towards the company was like to me, which is a very dangerous way of seeing things, because yeah, exactly, you're not gonna take anything in a constructive way and you're just gonna get stressed and sad. And so I learned about it. I learned that, of course, you might always have some people that say things to hurt you, but that happens with everything. But majority of the people, I must say, they are really nice and very understanding. And we actually value those feedbacks so much that when we launch our web shop, so we launched it recently, September last year, we even put a system that after like 1 week that people have received their products, they are sent an automatic email saying to review the products from 1 till 5, and even with comments. So we actually receive like comments every day. I'm very glad to say that majority are all 5 or 4 stars. So of course it's pleasant, but the most useful one are the negative ones, you know. And I really don't say to sound so cool, but it's true, like, because that's the only thing that can make you improve. If everybody only has nice word and says everything is perfect, okay, maybe your ego is a bit pumped for 10 minutes, but then you are at the same point where you were. And you see, a lot of time they're really useful things, like that feedback when we start realizing that people, they don't have these habits of putting dressing on their food. We just change and we just adapt. And I think it's also very important not to think that, oh my God, I made a mistake once, so everybody now is never gonna try again. I mean, there are so many people out there, and also a lot of people, they are willing to give a second chance to things. Yeah, I just think sometimes as an entrepreneur, we get really into those negative thoughts, and like that just by one mistake, everything is ruined. And I don't think that's true.
What about your days? How are you spending them?
Yeah, so I am really a creature of routine. So I guess maybe my studies, they always gave me this discipline, because I'm also somebody that really wants to excel in stuff. So I always believed in organizing my days to the hour. And I can talk also for Benoit. Benoit is very different as well on that. Like he goes much more with the flows, and he's also more of a night owl, while I'm really a morning person. Which at the end of the day is very good, because it allowed us to be more active in different moments of the day. So to be kind of always responding, to emails, to customers, and also not to be together all the time, which I think is important. So like my typical day is I get up quite early, like at 5:50 or something like that. And then I don't find it so crazy, but when I say it, people they look like that's a lot. And then I like to have the first half an hour. I just really put myself on the couch with a coffee, and like either I just stay in my thoughts or I read a book. I really like to read books about like entrepreneurs or biographies, really motivating stuff. And then by 6:30, like I work out, and then like, yeah, let's say by 7:30 I start properly. And then it depends, of course, from the day. But I learned, and this is also something important, not to try to multitask too much. Because sometimes when you try to do too many things all at the same time, it's like you don't really focus on anything. So you think you're saving time, but you're actually taking much more time to do stuff. It's crazy. And it's like every successful person says that. But for some reason, I really had to hit the wall to realize that.
This is so familiar, really.
Yes. So one thing that I really do now is like in the morning, first of all, I make a list the evening before with the priorities for the day. And one of the things is always, okay, checking the emails and replying to emails. So let's say between 7:30 and 8, I do that. I respond to what is important. I flagged what can be replied later, But then if I have other stuff to do, I'm not going to check my emails anymore until when I have the next email check, which let's say is in the afternoon or in the evening, because there is nothing that makes you lose more time than every 10 minutes opening the email, and then you get an email, then you're like, okay, I'm going to reply this one. And you lose focus. Like it's, I think this society makes you think that you really have to multitask and you have the ability to do more. I don't think that's true. Or yeah, maybe if you're some kind of superhuman, which I'm not. So yeah, that's what I do. And then depending of the day, I might have meetings. I might have to do newsletter. At least once a week, I do some analysis of the analytics of our web shop and newsletters. So, I see where we are going, how we are growing, what could we do to do better. And then by 9:30, 10, I always try to pass by our production atelier. So it's like a kitchen basically that we had the chance to find quite close to where we lived. Well, we moved last year actually. And yeah, now we have 2 people working the whole week plus a student. And they're really good and they're very independent, but I still think it's very important, and I think they think the same, to to motivate them and to every day to set a bit the goal for the day and the week. And to be honest, I still do also some production very often, because we are still in that phase that Benoit and I, we are a bit involved in everything, which of course is what we are trying to kind of improve. Is a bit the goal for this year, to have more and more time to dedicate to the business development and go a bit out of the production. But it's still quite a big part of the work, and I don't complain, because it's nice. Sometimes it just refreshes a bit my mind, to do something with my hands and not always sitting at the desk.
So what about 2021? You say that you want to do more of a business, the business side, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's your plan?
So we have actually 3. We like to say that we have 3 big projects right now that are currently running all together. One is unfortunately really top secret, like we can't mention anything, but it's a very big one. So and it's something new. So that is gonna be very cool, but it requires really a lot of time and a lot of meetings also. Then we have the second one, which is growing more and more our web shop.
Well, thank you very much for staying till the end of the first part of the episode with the vegan butcher. As you might have already understood, there's a lot of things to be discussed, so that's why I had to split it per 2. And as I promised, I'm gonna entertain you a bit with independent music. So today's song is a sad lo-fi track called Maybe You're For Me by a Liverpool-based singer and music producer, Heartache. Enjoy!
Hey, yo, Pixel, this shit fire.
Girl, you act so distant, but not when you with me. With you I know I'm alright. It's as if I can breathe. Girl, you act so distant, but not when you with me. Maybe you're for me. I've been waiting here a while now, just wondering if you still want me. Lost in my thoughts clearly, my brain is so damn foggy. Maybe you're for, maybe you're for, maybe you're for me. Girl, you act so distant, but not when you with me. With you I know I'm alright. It's as if I can breathe. As if I can breathe.